Okay, collective reading time. We're just going to give the people what they want. So it's going to be a love reading. Let's just see what's around your heart space right now. What is around this collective's heart space? I'm seeing someone so whimsical in my mind. Like just very fairy-like features. One more. Okay, so what is around your heart space right now? The first one that came out was the cassette. That's outdated thinking. But it is about replaying events over and over again in the mind. It's kind of like this rumination cycle. But right next to it, you've got this coffee cup energy. And then you've got the coffin. You've got the talking. 3 C's. CCC. Your name could have a lot of C's in it. But I'm just noticing that it's odd. This coffee cup is really about meeting and conversing. It's sort of like that lighthearted coffee date feeling, but it's also about friendship. And then you've got the coffin, endings, bringing new beginnings, change, growth, liberation, and transition, and then talking, interested in conversing more. So it's kind of up and down. If I were to rearrange these, it'd be a much more linear timeline of someone kind of in a state of rumination over an ending and knowing that wanting to talk more was a part of that. But the way that they came out, I'm feeling like called to point that out because I think you're coming in and out of that energy. Like you're coming in and out of wanting contact because you know that thinking about it, wanting it, holding onto that frequency is definitely not going to bring it in. Like your thought alone, right? And it's not making you happy. But which is productive, a good thought pattern to be on top of. But then you fall back into the pattern, which a lot of people really genuinely, and I get it, like I've been there, but people genuinely believe sometimes that because something keeps coming through in their mind, that it must be because someone's pulling on their energy and, you know, they're X, Y, and Z, they've put a label on their connection. And sometimes that is true, but I always ask people, like, even if it's true, so what? It's causing you discomfort. And then you build these expectations and you stop trusting yourself and it leaks into all other areas in our life. Because in my opinion, just because love is the thing that a lot of people focus on, it's one of the most powerful frequencies, doesn't mean that they don't repeat those patterns in other areas. You know what I mean? So, but this is objectively what's around you. So it's not what you think, it's the energy, bird's eye view. So what's this outdated thinking for this collective? The ascent is good. You're literally ascending through it. This is preparing for a new phase and union, but you're overcoming obstacles. And I'm not gonna lie, I am feeling a little like I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. We'll just see what comes out. But those ascensions, you kind of get used to them after a while too. Why do I feel like this collective's been on the roundabout with this for quite a while? I don't think this is a new pattern of thinking, behavior. Like I think this is a very cyclical. I'm seeing the like cycles card in the purple and pink deck. I'll have to get it and see if that comes out. But what's this coffee cup? I'm seeing that more as friends. Like when you're in a state, you're like calling someone, which is good. Advice I give all the time is like, if you really want to get over something, just never shut the fuck up about it. Like literally never. And in that way you can process it. But just as I was saying, I feel like this is more friends. You get the love call over the coffee cup. This is what's around you right now. So, did you guys get a love call? I don't know. Hold on. We'll break that down in just a second. Let's get this coffin energy. Endings, bringing new beginnings. The butterfly, but underneath it was the feeling used, boundaries. It's the girl with the snake heart. I don't like saying that though, because snakes are incredible. We should stop demonizing them. Like they're so good for the planet and they're so beautiful. But it's funny too, because I wanted to put on my serpent charm and I haven't wanted to put that on in forever, but I didn't. Odd. But this butterfly, you've got 2 cards of transformation with 1 card about the bound. So I'm trying to figure out with all the other positivity that's around this. Hold on, let's just get your emotion. That'll give me a better idea of like where, like if actually something has re-entered or if it's just about to. So what's this collective's emotion right now? Moody. Letting go. One more. Nostalgia. So nostalgia is fun and it's a great place to visit, like a vacation, but we can't live there. Forgiveness. Oh no, maybe you have. Hold on. What do I want to get? I guess we'll just get these. Okay. Let's see if any of those communication cards come out. Why am I wanting to get that deck? And now I feel like I'm all over the place. Let's just see if this collective has had something come in. What's that? If someone's unavailable. 2 more. 1 more. Another card of feeling used, an air sign. So that would be an important sign. You could be heavily air sign ruled, other person connected to you. Or I'm hearing maybe the last time you spoke to this person was during one of the months that rules air signs. So what is that, like January, February, like right in the middle there? And then Gemini is the summer. Libra is the fall. I don't know all the dates. Sorry, guys. But if it's important for you, you'll know what it is. So this moody, temperamental, sulking up and down, but with forgiveness, letting go, and then nostalgia. So that's what's pulling on you. This for the right group of people, you don't have anything in your energy yet. You're clearly destined to, just looking at this, right? But I think you can feel it. And I think because of that, it's pulling on you. And I always say this, thinking about someone, looking at their pictures, visualizing them in your mind, like listening to their voice notes, like anytime you're interacting with someone and you have a really strong, tumultuous, whatever bond, it's not just like a casual acquaintance. That's energy work, right? So you are connecting to their frequency by engaging with something about them, and they can feel it, whether they know it or not. Most people don't, right? And usually it's not the type of energy pull where it's just really dragging you down. Sometimes it can be, but I think this collective, you'll have to tell me. I just feel like maybe you are in a place where you've really been trying to work on yourself and let go of things. And why this letting go is actually here in this forgiveness, which is a beautiful emotion. I think you're just like, I just got to let this go. I forgive and I forget. I don't have the answers and it doesn't matter. But moody. And my candle just went just flickered. And I always see that as a pretty strong confirmation. So this will be an interesting one because, again, the other cards are what's actually around you, not what you think is around you. So it should also be a confirmation for the right collective of what you've been feeling and what your thought pattern is. But this butterfly, so a transition, an evolving new phase, healing your inner child and growth over something that has been an ending and has made you feel used. That's really nice. Let's get one more for this talking. Interested in conversing more. That's clearly the person connected to you. Let's be real. Healthier choices. Maybe this is what they want to tell you. But they've really been working on themselves. This is a card of self-care and self-love, being happier. I do think, again, I'm doubling down. I also think that this collective, that's what you're going through. And that's what your experience is right now and what you've really been focusing on. Just one more for that. Cupid's arrow. Stop. What is going on? Oh my God, I very rarely ever get to do these. I don't want to jinx it, but I was feeling love bubble energy. I'm not going to lie. And I really don't like getting people's hopes up. So, or like causing people to feel any amount of distress if they mistakenly align a reading to themselves when it's not. So absolutely hang out with me. I'd love to have you hang out with me for an hour. But just make sure all these little details, and I'm going to get a bunch of like really concrete details about who you are and who this person is to make sure that you know it's your reading, right? Sorry, my timer. Anyways, you've got have faith, love is coming, a surprise invitation or meeting, but there's hesitation over this making healthier choices. There's so much here about talking, communication, and movement. But again, in the other deck, someone who's been maybe stuck in their mind about this communication, makes sense if they're an inner sign. No offense, I love you guys, but you live up there, and has made you feel like things have moved on. Oh, this is nice. All right, what's this love call coffee cup? That tells me that they're gonna mask, so they're still not showing their hand. And right now, what's going on cosmically, guys, I, anyways, astrology is everything. It's literally fucking everything. So what's going on right now? Huge cycle closure. We just had the eclipse, the full moon eclipse. Now we're coming out of Mercury retrograde. Like Mars is doing shit with Mercury. There's just a lot of things going on. Like Pisces is all up in the mix. I I think for you, this collective, you've really been feeling it and trying to just center into your lessons, which is really beautiful. But again, this is what's around your heart space. I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, so let's just get how you're feeling real quick. Get a couple cards of those. Oh, what do I want? Okay. We're going to get a couple cards of that. We are going to get how you're viewing this person. But first, let's get how you're seeing your world in just 3 cards. Whoa. Knight of Cups in reverse. Hanged Man. Makes sense. 8 of Pentacles. Perfect. Perfectly aligns. So you've been on an 8 of Pentacles journey, and that's becoming a master of the craft. It's dedication. Nose to the grindstone. Not giving up. And it literally takes years, guys. The 8 of Pentacles journey, you don't do it for a couple months and then feel, I mean, there are some people who are high achievers, but that's, anyways. It's really about understanding that the long-term success that you will get from the effort isn't just an outcome. It's also the journey. That's 8 of Pentacles. And with the Hanged Man, that's you having a new perspective on your life. That's understanding surrender. It's understanding that things will take time. Things can be destined to you, but it's just not right now. Things can be on hold, but they're still there because you energetically connect to the frequency of your destiny and you just trust in it. Hanged Man is such a contemptuous card because it can mean so many different things depending on who I'm reading. But the one thing that it always signifies to me when it's upright is that surrender is definitely in the collective's energy, which is painful. It's painful. I said it today like 3 times in another reading. It's one of the hardest lessons because it's every single day. When you get that pull to rush, the universe doesn't respond to force and rushing and holding on to that frequency. It actually sends lessons to us when we do that to make it damn near insufferable to keep holding on. But what you are having a new perspective about, again, Knight of Cups in reverse, the obsession, the revoked offers, the manipulation, the playboy behavior, someone coming in with the mask up, beautiful, beautiful. And it perfectly lines up with what's actually around you. So that's nice. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure we were onto the right money. I want to see how you're seeing this person. And I want my spicy deck. Because I actually don't think you have any contemptuous feelings for this person, but I do think that you were kind of like, you're like 90% there, right? I think in your mind, you're solid and in everything I've already said, but there's still parts of your soul outside of them doing energy work on you, outside of the rumination and nostalgia. There's still that little twinkle of what if. But again, you're not holding on to it with anger, which is really nice. Okay, so how is this collective seeing the person that was in that other deck? How are you seeing this person? Why am I feeling like I want to get some horoscope cards just to really narrow down the energy? So King of Pentacles upright, but Queen of Cups in reverse. So this person would be very he's I'm not just saying this because I am an earth sign, but the earth sign pairing is my absolute fucking favorite because they're ride or dies. So King of Pentacles, he's very fucking loyal. He's very steadfast. He has an incredibly high sense of self-esteem. Like he doesn't suffer fools, but he doesn't rule over his kingdom with anger and bitterness and hate and contempt. Like he just does it from a very centered place. He is loyal. He is loyal to the bone. And I think that's what draws you to this person is that you know that they're loyal. You know that they can lock in. Like you know that they have it within them to be this very regal, centered, balanced type of person. But why do I feel like you've only seen that energy directed towards their life path and their ambition to succeed? Like I think there's a little bit of fixation on money here. I know he's upright, but when he's in reverse, I call him the green-eyed monster because he tries to possess literally everything and he compares to other people and he gets very jealous. Like he's very money hungry and he doesn't like, his Queen of Pentacles talking to anybody else. Like he has to know what everybody's doing. It's very abrasive. I think you've seen that side to this person, and then Fool in reverse. And I think that because you've seen this, all those traits in this person, Fool in reverse, when they act out, when they can be impulsive, when they can be a little foolish, I think it was like whoa, what the fuck? I think it really took you by surprise. There's something here about money and status for the right collectives person, because I can feel it very strongly, because then right next to it, Queen of Cups in reverse, and she's doom and gloom. She sits in that ivory tower, and no matter what anybody says or anybody does, she's always the victim. And the victim mentality self-perpetuates itself, because if you're constantly finding the negative and finding the doom and gloom, blah, 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 that's what your reality is. But she won't hear it. She won't hear any of it. She can also be a little bit gossipy, but she wallows in her pain. She loves to be in pain, and she would genuinely tell anybody who would listen how much she hates it. She's an energy vampire. This is how you're seeing them. So it's almost like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And I think it comes from this Fool in reverse energy of you seeing this very impulsive, impatient, sort of like bully out of character behavior from this person. To go from a King of Pentacles to a Queen of Cups, that's whiplash. That's like personality whiplash, right? But deep down, and I think you would know this, which is why I think you're trying to forgive this and let it go. You know this comes from this person's shadow, their armor, their ego, their, childhood trauma. They probably didn't have the best examples of an emotional father figure in their life. Their father is probably quite absent. He was probably very successful in business and worked a lot, but didn't pay any attention to his family. And his mom probably was the victim of that situation, even if he lived in, they all lived in wealth. They all had their material needs met. And I'm not saying that having your material needs met is a qualifier to being a happy human. That's clearly fucked up to not have any emotional attachments in a family. But that would have been their dynamic, and you would know this. That is really interesting. I actually want to see the Fool in reverse. Just one more for that. Knight of Swords. What was I saying about the impulse sign? Knight of Swords. He rushes in normally anyways, but when he does it in reverse, he is blinded by impulse. I mean, like a bull charging at that flag. Like in a china shop at that, he destroys when he rushes in. And then he leaves just as fast, and the wreckage is for everybody else to clean up. So this person would never take responsibility for themselves on top of the impulsiveness. And that is truly terrifying. I think for the right collective, the push and pull you have towards this person is that the red flags are so glaringly red, but the green flags are just as vibrant, right? Like truly seeing two sides of someone that are very, very intense. I actually want to get, I'm just being called to do this. I don't normally get these, but I want to get really a lot of detail for the right collective. So I want to see what this person is ruled by. Because there was a reason I went into what's going on for the planet. So what is this person ruled by that's connected to this collective? Whoa, that's a lot. I guess I'll just take all three of those. So waxing gibbous moon. So that would be an important moon cycle to them. It's probably this moon cycle that they were born on. And you probably do know that, maybe not, but 9th house. So they're heavily 9th house ruled, and they're ruled by Uranus, the sky shaker. And if there were a planet that was more perfect to describe impulsive energy, no joke, literally upheaval, literally shock, the rug being ripped out from underneath you. I see Uranus as divine intervention. It is the bull in the china shop, and you do not know where it's coming from. I love Uranus as a planet, but Jesus Christ, is it scary. Everybody talks about Saturn, everybody talks about Pluto, everybody talks about Mars. Uranus is the one for me where I'm like, watch out for this guy because you never know what he's up to, right? Sometimes it creates these beautiful, like, restructuring of things. And generally, like, the planets are not malicious. Although Chiron, I have an issue with, but, which is not a planet, but Uranus, Uranus is the Fool in reverse with Knight of Swords. Rushes in, fucks a bunch of shit up, and rushes out, and then all the other energies around it genuinely have to clean up the mess. Now, the ninth house is the planet of like education and higher learning. It's a lot of other stuff. It's just a really distilled sort of classification for them to be highly, highly influenced by Uranus in the ninth house, wherever in their chart. They're probably a fire sign because it's smelling very fire sign, but I love you guys, but you're fire for a reason. I think this person is constantly trying to change and deconstruct the systems around them because they know best. And I'm not saying that they don't, but again, these are just details to make sure that this is your reading and really your person. I think that they have a beautiful visionary mind. The ninth house is ruled by Sagittarius, and that is the troublemaker of the zodiac. But it's also the archer. And when the arrow is actually pointed on target, they hit it every time. But they pull back that arrow regardless. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a type of energy where it's like the daring and the witty and the imagination and the spark. And I'm seeing my Ace of Wands in this person's energy is intoxicating. But what damage they cause in their wreckage when they don't hit their target is devastating, right? Very intricate person. Not that anyways, I'm going to try to not over explain and bean soup myself from now on. So just don't mind me while I stumble through it. I think again, this is what would have intoxicated you about this person. Very dynamic, very exciting. Okay, so now that we've kind of established who this person is to you and how you're feeling and what the energy is actually around you, I want to see what your guys' soul contract is, and then we'll get how they're feeling. So how's this person, or I'm sorry, no. What is this collective soul contract with this person? That's real good, guys. It's really nice. Okay, so what a spread. So right in the middle of these, you've got the snake, and that's about deception. That's about jealousy. What do I say about that green-eyed monster? It's about some sort of toxic silent treatment, but it's also a card about sexuality and seduction. A little bit of siren energy really aligns with who this person is. Now, I know I didn't really totally tap into who you are, but I can already tell that if you're drawn to that type of person, it's because you mimic a lot of those qualities. For better or worse, this is not a drag, but you would be the type of person that was very prone to sensationalism. You loved the fun and exciting, but maybe before you met this person, you struggled to actually dedicate. You've been dedicating because you're in 8 of Coins energy, one of the ultimate dedication cards. But initially, when you meet someone, the lessons that they teach you, you haven't healed those yet, right? Again, I think you've been doing this for a while. So I think with this person, it sort of illuminated in your soul the things that you needed to be working on, because it's almost like an extreme version of the thing, your trauma and your triggers. This contract was meant to teach you that, obviously, but it was also to show you your true north. So this person could have awakened you. Well, they would have been one of the catalysts to an awakening. Your life awakens you. We don't want to give them all the credit because they're not the Messiah, God, creator, whatever. Like, they can't come down with a lightning bolt and, throw it through your heart and then all of a sudden you're awakened. You would have had a life full of trauma and a life full of struggle. It just would have been the icing on the cake. But either way, it's a part of your contract to seek truth, know where you're going, and have direction. I think I'm just hearing like this person could have made you feel very out of control, which would have made you want to really rein it in, right? It's like trying to see through the fog on this one. but making a plan and exploring the parts of you that actually do crave stability. I get the feeling that this collective, maybe for a long time, you didn't even realize how much you lack stability until you and this person connected and the instability became hard to ignore. Do you get what I'm saying? But either way, all of that was a solution and a key to a door you didn't even know needed to be unlocked. It was a type of insight and clarity and open breakout moment. And I'm hearing too that this person would have told you the same thing, that you help them see the world differently because of the messes you guys were making or the ignitions in your soul that you were giving to each other, that it was really just removing a lot of veils from their periphery. Why do I feel like you guys maybe got like arrested together? I just like heard that and saw something like the back of a cop car, which I know what it looks like for my own reasons, but that's why I'm like, you'll have to tell me if that's true. Like maybe when you were quite young, or maybe if you are still young, like maybe you guys got into some trouble, right? I find most spiritual people are quite rebellious, which I really love. But then there was that deception and that jealousy. So it's that whiplash moment, right? Where you guys were just ride or dies, Bonnie and Clyde. And then lo and behold, someone who lacks the ability to control their impulse maybe made some shitty decisions. And then there was like, not saying anybody deserves this, but I think you both were this way. Normally when I read collectives, there's typically one partner that feels like they've been betrayed by the other partner. But I just get a feeling that it kind of went both ways with the energy that I've been reading. You'll have to tell me. But either way, this contract was also meant to teach you communication, to teach you how to unite opposites and integrate all the different lessons you've been learning. True collaboration and harmony, which you would be using in all other areas of your life as well, but overcoming barriers. And then you've got the fireworks and the diamond ring card. We're going to break that down in just a minute. But I want to see this deception and this jealousy. Yeah, every time that there was some sort of betrayal and toxic silent treatment, it would create a false start. And you'd think, oh, well, we're just not going to get this right. Like, this is poor timing. This is a misfire. This is a failure to launch. But it was always a lesson. You just weren't learning the lesson. This rough start, things not actually taking off. They were taking off. The lesson had already begun. Once your energy connected, the class was in session, right? But for this collective, you probably would have read that as, oh, this is just toxic, right? Not seeing the lesson outside the box. I think you're seeing it now. But remember back to when you guys were first swirling around each other like two cyclones. It came from your inexperience. That's where the backfire came from. And you have to learn the lesson. You can't walk into every relationship having all of the experience in the world. That's insane. But do you see now how it came from you just not knowing all the things that you learned with or without this person in their absence or because of their silent treatment? Get what I'm saying? So let's see what your true north is right now. Or in this contract, I guess. Yeah, learning how to take resolved action and striking while the iron's hot. So not waiting for the storm, not waiting for your tower to hit, having concentration and resilience. This contract was to teach you your 8 of coins, that no matter how many times you tried, you couldn't pull blood from a stone, and to use that energy in other areas. If you can dedicate to the same relationship person for, however many years, and it not work out, you could use that energy for good, right? Having strength and persistence. That's what it was meant to teach you, which you clearly learned. You feminine energy, but also through the communication styles. So, and this is also kind of an interesting detail for the right group of people. I feel like even though you guys are both Spitfires, and you probably have had moments where, just the verbal moment and not a thoughtful conversation would be coming out of your mouths in moments of ignition. You got the communication card, but it's the nervous communication card. And so that tells me that you actually, through this contract, learned how to stifle that energy of being nervous, but being more willing to speak your mind instead of just blurting out when you're triggered. When we go through constant triggers of ignition, especially in romantic relationships, And we're always silencing ourselves in those moments to like people please or smooth waters because we love that person and whatever else. We don't realize that we're still building up all those things we want to say and all those things that we're feeling. So it would erupt at completely the wrong time with the wrong people in the wrong situations. So with this person, I'm sure, again, you guys had your back and forth, but you were never actually speaking your mind and saying what you were wanting to say. But with your friends, you might be popping off. With your family, you were being real intolerable. At work, you might be popping. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It was meant to teach you how to work through that nervousness to express yourself and have determined action. Also, how to sit in your divine feminine energy. When things don't work for you, walk away. Don't just suffer a fool. Don't just sit in the burning house. Get up, walk away. And, sometimes the best thing to do is just to be silent. So I think you could learn that too. What's the solutions in this key? The yarn, seeing the problems as the solution, seeing the roadblocks as the roadblocks, right? The things that were all tied up in conundrums and puzzling made you feel strung along. That was always the key to understanding your sovereignty and your self-respect and your self-love. And that's really what it all comes down to, guys. I don't care what anybody says. I don't give a fuck. If you have not worked on yourself to the point where you're self-aware and you can at least manage and recognize some of your emotions and your triggers, I don't see how you would have a healthy, dynamic relationship. Codependency, lots of people thrive in that. That's not what this is about. I mean, like in a relationship that doesn't destroy you every 18 months. Do you know what I mean? This was always meant to be your key. You were never going to learn it any other way. You weren't going to learn it with family, friends, work, whatever. It had to come from your heart space. That's a tough one to learn. All right, what's this? Because you now have 2 cards of communication. So again, your communication style would have been the thing you really would have transitioned during this contract. Oh, of course. I felt it and I didn't want to say it for a reason. This is good. You got the swans. I haven't seen this card in ages. So through all the communication, through all the integration and sharing and collaborating and being open to really expressing yourself and living authentically, it was always meant to ignite within you this, for you to realize that the connection meant more than just the connection. And I'm going to go on my little tangent because I've been on one the last couple of weeks. The twin flame divine dynamic is not a circumstance that souls enter into in a contract so that they can fall in love, have kids, and live happily ever after. It is a dedicated contract to making the world a better place. Full stop. That's what it is. So I know a lot of people think they're on this path, but I don't know why you would want to be, because it is incredibly soul crushing and destroying, and it rips you all the way apart to create a new person from the ground up, right? You go through ascension after phoenix period, after ascension, after awakening, like for years, average years, like 5 years, guys. It's like 4 or 5 years. And it doesn't even count your initial like union relationship. That's just the separation time. Doesn't even count for the reunion time, and I said this the other day in a reading, a lot of people don't want to talk about how a lot of twin flames will never actually reach long-term union, because by the time you both have healed, specifically the divine feminines, you don't want them anywhere near you. You're in a place where you have truly let it go, truly surrender, because that's a requirement for reunion. When you have let the frequency go, I've seen it. I can't even remember the last time I did a reconciliation reading that showed it was like a long-term because you don't need it and you don't want it. You're on your life path. You're doing your mission work. You're making the world a better place. Why would you need love? And that's this whole journey. It's to heal you, to see yourself, because you are a powerful being meant for change. And for you to get this twin flames over the communication card, your throat chakra, how you communicate with the world and how you collaborate and share ideas, is a part of your life path. So you're in some sort of community building, information sharing area of this journey for your work, right? What you do for Pentacles. And that's probably also why it was ignited in this to teach you how to work towards that goal. Do you see how it all connects? So you do have the fireworks card. This is your contract, right? This is nice. But what's this? The fireworks. That's about chemistry and celebration and passion and desire. Oh my God, my timer. Would you quit? So you got the Eiffel Tower card, but lifetimes from the past, you know, governments and institutions and education. So this would have been another part of your shadow that this was meant to teach you, that a relationship is not all spark. The way I described your guys' dynamic of it just being probably 0 to 100 and just this bomb of emotion, ace of wands, like exhilarating. This was meant to teach you that that is not a long-term enduring type of love, to not chase the high, right? To not just constantly search for the moment of bliss, to genuinely appreciate all areas of life. That's a beautiful, beautiful lesson. What a painful one to learn through this, though. And again, what you're learning, the other person, true twin flames, you would have also been learning this. That would have been a lesson of true gratitude, because when you awaken, you also start to see the world for what it really is. You start to see the structures that the rich and powerful have put in place to oppress most of the world and to extract the resources from Mother Earth and leave nothing but devastation in the wake. And that's why it's also soul destroying to see those things. I'm not saying you have to be a twin flame to see those things, but I'm saying like the way it hits you in this journey, it's like literally, it's like that scene in The Matrix. Like he's literally like, what the fuck? He does what he wants to go back and he can't. Understanding that taking things slow and having endurance and appreciating things, even if they are not, you know, the most exhilarating, is such a beautiful quality of finding center and balance. It's nice. All right. And then you've got the diamond ring, the proposal, the engagement, the next level, promise, partnership, engagement with the balance over it. I want one more, but opposing forces, feeling complete, awareness just right. Oh my God. I haven't seen that one in ages either. The white feather, the miracle. Understanding that this lesson, this relationship, this journey was always going to be protected, that all your signs and synchronicities and your encouraging, you know, imagery and downloads from your ancestors were always going to be there to help you always take those leaps of faith, to let go of the frequency of longing and desire and craving, and it's true freedom. And this card is also a card of forgiveness, and that's in your energy. I know when someone I'm reading is actually close to reuniting with someone. Let's just get rid of the label. When someone is genuinely close to reuniting with some sort of soul connection, and that can be family, that can be friends, you know, whatever it is. It's because they no longer hold on to anger. They no longer blame. They're no longer in anguish. They're not in any of those emotions that are more a part of the grief cycle. They're in the forgiveness, the end of the grief cycle, the acceptance. And even though that can sometimes still be painful, it's such a frequency of neutrality, and it's just letting things be and understanding the impermanence of emotion and the impermanence of our meat suits and the never-ending droll of time and how things will repeat and come into our lives and leave. Like, it's just surrender. It's a literal miracle. It's a literal miracle. And you have that because you found balance and understanding all of these lessons. This is guys, this is a beautiful contract. I don't get to do these very often. I can't remember the last time I did one of these. What a treat. No wonder. No wonder. Not to say that anybody who isn't a twin flame wouldn't have a beautiful contract, but you guys are true divine counterparts. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Because the world needs you guys. The world needs you guys for your mission work, for making this world a better place, and healing the world of all the frequencies, all the animals, like every living thing, including the earth itself. Like, You need all of the enlightened people to be on their mission work. Okay, so let me just take a minute and I'm going to organize myself and then we'll get into the person that you're connected to. Okay, so while I was getting my shit together, I was hearing there's always a test, and there is, and you probably are aware of this. If you're a true divine, you just absorb all of the information about divines that you absolutely come in contact with. Plus, you get your own downloads about that journey. But typically, what I've seen, right, is that right before you get one of those re-entries, there's always a test, but the big ones that could be cycle enders where you can start anew and actually have reconciliation are absolutely the hardest because they don't feel, look, or resemble anything like any of the tests of the past, right? The universe will dangle that little carrot with the way they come in and the words that they say and the gestures that they make to see if you really do trust in this, in your journey, right? So we're going to get Heather feeling what they're thinking and all the stuff. But if you're still watching a reading on them, that means because there's still a tiny bit of attachment in your heart. And that will be where the test comes in, like I said, to see if you've actually surrendered it. I think you're like 90% of the way there. So make sure you watch the whole thing, please. Because like I said, I don't like getting people's hopes up and like contributing to any of the discomfort, but of course hang out with me if you want to. So let's just see what's actually going on in their life right now. I just want 3 cards, please. What's actually going on in this person's life who's connected to this collective. So, and they usually, love that. So, okay. So the way that you have in your soul right now, as I'm doing this reading, or as you see it, I guess, the way that your soul remembers or recognizes their energy is that they were a Queen of Cups in reverse. Remember, wallowing, melancholy, like loves to be a victim, energy vampire, right? How the source is seeing their energy and what they're actually in is King of Cups upright. Oh, what a transition. Because not only is he just as psychic and intuitive and artistic and creative as all the other cup suits, he's so emotionally connected. Like I always say he's like the dad that cries with you when you watch like the silly, sappy romantic movies. Like he's not afraid to be goofy. Like he genuinely gives the best advice. Like he's just this very warm, welcoming presence. And he is still very loyal. He is still very heart focused in the way of like family and relationships, but he just understands when things need to come from an emotional point of view. So King of Cups, in my opinion, definitely has this really beautiful balance that some of the other kings lack, where he's really connected to his feminine energy of nurturing and caring. And it's just, oh God, that's nice. Like also being very connected to the artistic part of things, which maybe was a part of their soul before that you have maybe forgotten. Like I was hearing like music, like maybe this person does have the creativity within them, but like as things were sort of, shit was hitting the fan with you guys way back when, you stopped seeing some of that creative expression, which of course it was all for a reason, but it's back now. Remember, this was really going on. They do have the Star in reverse right next to it with Page of Wands in reverse. And that's about being out of ideas and having a lack of focus, but being pessimistic, right? And the Star, that's a place of true despair. I always see it as like someone coming up and popping our dream bubble with all of our beautiful manifestations and hopes and wishes in it. It's not quite melancholic like Queen of Cups in reverse because it's exterior as well. So I think right now they're going through a little bit of, I'm hearing hopelessness, but they're not dwelling in it. I think they're seeing whatever damage is accruing in their life as something to genuinely mourn. And that isn't, that's such a good way to look at the world, because then as you actually mourn in a healthy way, take responsibility for things, understand things from an empathetic point of view, you can heal it. He's not running from emotion. He's not running from it. That's really nice. One more for this Star in reverse. 2 of Wands in reverse. And that's a reassessment. What was I just saying? So instead of freaking out, right? They're like, "Oh, I got to fix this." Like, how can I make this better? Not how can I force this and how can I change this and how can I rebuild? It's like, who have I hurt? What can I fix? Right? Like, I think, anyways, you'll get what I'm saying. I want one more. Kind of came out of my hand. Funny. Emperor in reverse. So from a place of control, everything I always say perfectly aligns. From a place of control where they were literally out of control. It's also a card of father issues. So you could know this, that they could be a father, or I said they had issues with their father. So that kind of lines up. But it's just this dominant, aggressive, angry, sort of embittered. I see him as the tyrant. Like, he's normally supposed to rule over an empire, which is a very prestigious, regal, responsible place. But again, when he's in reverse, tyrant, 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 you can hear him screaming all across his empire. Like, this is what they're reassessing. No wonder they're sitting in King of Cups. They're finding true balance just like you are. And of course you would know this. Well, you wouldn't know this specifically, but you know the part of the divine dynamic where you pull them along with your energy. That's another thing people don't understand. The twin flame dynamic is not just about your ex coming back. It's all the healing and everything I've already said in the other parts, so go watch that. But another crucial key element of that contract is that the more the divine feminine heals, the more the masculine heals. So the longer the feminine sit in longing and nostalgia and anguish and rumination and just obsession, the longer they avoid, the longer they're bitter and angry and disgusted and they just distract and like their silent treatment, the longer that happens. Once the shift starts and the veils start to finally come off from the lessons that I've learned, because you've burned yourself about 1 billion times, that's when they start to change too. Then you guys switch places. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the way this person, I was reading their energy in the beginning. This is a true switching of the veil, and it's absolutely incredible. Again, what a treat to read, because I think most readers who are genuine about their practice get called to do readings for people who genuinely need it. So reconciliation readings and, you're going to get back together with your ex or a new person, whatever. It's very rare, for me at least, in my practice. So again, the reason I'm being called to do this would probably be because there's a test coming up. But oh my God, is the energy beautiful. And I'm noticing this too on this card. I want to show it to you, but these cards are so holographic, I can never get them on the screen. This King of Pentacles, he's wearing this necklace and it's got this little like fish on it. I've never noticed that before, but it reminds me of this like handmade, like, I don't know if this person's done a bunch of traveling or like they've gotten a lot more life experience and they've just been open to culture and experience. That's a vibe I'm getting. Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. And he's got this like long wavy hair, kind of like, it reminds me of like someone you see backpacking as their vacation, where their hair gets longer and they get more tan and then they're just covered in all this like beautiful handmade whatever. Nice. What's this Page of Wands in reverse? Because I'm seeing that as pessimism more than anything. Ace of Swords in reverse. So from a place where they were like, no, this is never going to work, whatever, I'm out of here, they're realizing that they were blocking their own communication with themselves. That's what I'm hearing with this, that they needed to reassess things. They needed to get shit together. Normally, you'd want to see it upright, but I think this is just the internal reflection of how blocked they've been when they've been speaking about themselves, speaking about other people, the narrative they've been telling themselves. It's really nice. Let's one more for this King of Cups and we'll get their emotion. They got the Hangman too! Stop! So they're just like you. True twin flame collective. Just like you, they're sitting in surrender. And look at the way they're applying it to their life. I love it. All right, let's see their emotion and their emotion towards you. So they are still a little bit confused. They are still a little bit withdrawn and introverted, but I think they're seeing selfish. I don't think they're being selfish. I think they're seeing their selfish emotion. Again, with all of the introspection and the adjustments, and the Emperor in reverse, I think they've been seeing their self-interest and how self-absorbed the me, which their personality, when you guys met, it was because they're just trying to feed that insatiable fire of excitement and thrill and their way or the highway, right? That they had no consideration for others. And maybe they're even telling themselves, oh my God, that was like, this card says narcissistic. Maybe they're thinking that for a long time throughout their healing that they were like actually diagnosable, because that's a diagnostic term, guys. It's not just like a colloquial term we call people who appear to be self-absorbed, right? But the way I'm seeing that, like, I think they were genuinely concerned. And they're in their hermit mode. They're focusing on themselves. They are a little withdrawn, but this card says inward looking. I want one more for that. So they're finding a place of detachment as well, but it's not towards you. I think they're finding this place of detachment where they're letting go again of their ego and just letting the river flow. King of Cups, water, like water signs, emotions flowing. They're not blocking up that dam anymore, which is good. What's this selfish? I'm seeing that confused as you, like they don't know where you guys stand. Weak. So they're seeing their selfishness as a point of weakness. So in the past, all this vibrato and the showy behavior and the Knight of Swords rushing in, they're seeing that as their weakness. That it really was this is nice. That they were not strong when they were doing these things. That they were actually being quite vulnerable in a very toxic way. That they were worn down and kind of empty on the inside. And this is a sitting duck. So they were constantly defensive as well. Really lines up with the way that I was reading their energy when you guys were first or still in each other's lives. All right, what's this? Confused, unclear, foggy, uncertain about where you guys stand. Scrambled and a little unsure. One more for how they're feeling directly about you. Happy and connected. That's nice. So I think they're remembering, like, now that all of the mask is coming down, it won't be completely down, and neither will yours, and it will never go away. We heal forever. But they're remembering all the good times, and they're remembering how happy you made them, how pleased and fulfilled and joyous you made them, how grateful they felt when you were in their life. And I think they're still feeling, again, those things now. But even just having known you was what I'm hearing, which is really beautiful. But your laughter, especially with that yellow, like I'm hearing a very bubbly laugh. You could have one of those like very infectious laughs. I love those where it's just like glittery little bubbles, like every time you're laughing, like sparkles everywhere, but connected. They feel a deep sense of belonging with you, that you two are very alike. This card literally says soul tribe. Spark feels right. Energy still entwined. They're having dreams about you. The cosmos are doing it, right? They're really trying to show them. It all lines up really perfectly with the way the divine dynamic plays out. But they're having empathy towards you and the deep bond that you guys shared. One last one. That's just beautiful. The letting go. One more. They're not letting go of you. The miracle. Normally I see this miracle card as someone feeling like it would be a miracle if something came in, but I actually think it's the opposite. Just with the way that their energy feels, I think they're actually letting go of the idea that it would take a miracle. Like, I think they're settling into the idea that it's meant to be. You know what I mean? A transformation that defies logic. And I think they're feeling that way about themselves. I actually think they're having a higher opinion of themselves than you've probably ever seen them have. Because again, they see how their selfishness was actually just a weak mask. And in order to truly do this type of healing and growth, you do have to start loving yourself and seeing yourself and understanding yourself. So this is good. This is really good. I want to see what they're reflecting on with Love Pop and then what they want to say to you just right now. I'm sure whatever they say, whenever they come in, it'll be absolutely beautiful. But we'll also have to see what the test is going to be. All right. So what is this collective's person reflecting on right now? Woo! All the self-love. What was I saying? Literally, first card that came out, and it was upright. The self-love, learning to forgive oneself and others, healing their inner child with shadow work, recognizing the triggers that have affected them from moving forward. God, check. Oh, that's nice. I've been working on my self-worth, and I am recognizing the issues that have been holding me back. I'm trying to heal myself by loving myself first. Golly, that's going to make me emotional. I love that for you and for them. I love when people heal. It's literally such a miracle. One more. So again, this is what they're reflecting on. Gemini. So remember that air sign. That could be their sign. I still think they're heavily fire sign ruled. Maybe they have a fire moon. So actually, I think the watch. So they are watching. And remember I said they're doing energy work on you. And we knew that from that little black deck, the very beginning. But it says, even if I'm gone, I'm still connected to you in some way. I can't cut you off completely, but I'm afraid to return. My only interaction with you is through social media. I think this is where their energy is right now. And then these are more reflections of the past because they've got third-party situations. So you did get that betrayal card. It says, I made you feel inadequate because I chose someone over you. I regret the pain I have caused you due to my selfishness. The selfish. Confirmation. And my physical needs, you didn't deserve to be treated as an option. So they're seeing their impulsive behavior, which we know, but they're even seeing, this is actually kind of a rare thing for someone, because a lot of the times I see when masculine energy heals, they kind of take this position of like, you know, oh, well, I am sorry that I did that. But they don't see it as making the other person feel inadequate. They actually see it more as like a jealousy thing. Like, oh, you just didn't want me to be with anybody else. Like a possessiveness to the person that they're connected to. It's actually like kind of a rare thing for someone to be like, choosing someone over you hurt your self-worth, right? Like it's more deconstructed if you know what I mean. And I think it's good. And why do I feel like you maybe didn't know? Like for sure, like had because if this person was the way they were, I don't think they would have ever admitted to this. I think they would have just been very reactive if they were ever confronted, you know, with the way that their energy had been. So maybe this is just a confirmation to you also that they definitely did. That was the backstab and the betrayal. Like, I think you probably had evidence and you definitely would have had your gut feeling, but I think they would have denied this, like, till they were black and blue in the face. And then Gemini, so how they ran. I wasn't always there when you needed me the most. Instead of trying to comfort you, I would jump ship because I couldn't deal with my own emotions, let alone yours. They're good reflection, but they're also, this is also kind of rare. They are reflecting on how they are how they were unawakened. So again, true awakening, true divine collective. But I think they're thinking back to the past and being like, this was such unawakened behavior. You know what I mean? Like they're seeing their whole journey, which is really beautiful. And this little blurb is, I think, how they were feeling. I was fearful of letting go with what I had and what they knew. I'm trying to phrase it past tense because it's present tense on this card. It says, what you were asking of me was impossible and made me feel extremely uncomfortable. So you probably even told them. And I see this a lot too. Feminines will be like, they probably you guys don't even use the twin flame label. You're like, we're soulmates, we're written in the stars. And it probably would have freaked them out, right? But you were just trying to be like, I think you were just expressing how you were feeling. But because this person couldn't deal with their emotions, let alone yours, they would cut and run and connect to people that were an experience, right? That fed that part of their, ego that was exciting. Not that you weren't exciting, but I want fears of losing their old life, and they didn't want to change. And that's how most self-unaware people are, is they don't want to change. Because even if their life is hell and they're constantly destroying it for one reason or another, that's what they know. It's the familiar hell over the unfamiliar paradise. They say it nearly every day. What's this unawakened? I just want one more from that. Rebuilding. Stop. starting over, but better than ever. Moving forward with the hard work and communication, being honest with one's feelings and aspirations for the connection. Guys, I love this. What's this third party situation? Again, I feel like this is past mirroring. So you did it too. Sorry. I said that in some part. I was like, I think you guys were just as bad as each other. When I was talking about how you would ignite each other, so you did it too. And they're reflecting on that. It's like if this card is about feeling duress and like how they feel, you guys would have felt it at the same time. But when it came out immediately, that's what I felt. So this third party situation, I bet you guys were doing it to each other to piss each other off. Correct me if I'm wrong. Silliness, right? Now that you're healing or in a place in your healing where this is all coming together, isn't that a little bit silly? Like, and it's horrible because you're using other people. I have to put that out there. It's not this light, errant behavior that we can just write off as like a little jokey joke. Like, it's awful and toxic, but it's very silly. Can't imagine you would be doing anything like that now, of course, but great source of reflection, willingness to understand a genuine connection. They show your deepest fears, insecurities, shadows through action. And that's twin flames are like the most triggering fucking connections. So I don't know why anybody would want to be in one. It is so, because it's literally looking in a mirror, like, and in the most extreme ways. And you guys don't get it forever. You don't get it for like months, if not years, that you're looking into a mirror. You just fucking like, they just drive you insane and you cannot stay away from them. Do you know what I mean? Of course, it's your story, but what's this watching? Because that's now. Fragmentation of the soul. Check. So they got to go through this. So even through the watching, it's another card of them working on themselves, and they've been doing it for quite a while. As for a long time, they deemed themselves as someone who didn't deserve love and happiness. I don't think it's the deserve love. I think it's that they didn't even realize what love was. I think it was something they thought that they could possess, and that was a thrill and it was exciting. But the hard work and the dedication and the loyalty and the commitment were all things that were boring, snooze fest, and they didn't want to do it, and neither did you. So, but this is what's breaking them apart right now, and they're probably watching you, the infatuation. So there's still, and there always will be little seeds of the people that we were as we heal that come up that just add a little bit of flavor to our lives. But I'm seeing this as just a remnant of the past, of the passion that they still have for you. And you got that passion in that chemistry card that they're still, as they're watching you, it's still igniting those feelings of desire in them. And you can't fake chemistry. You either have chemistry with someone or you don't. And that's not a foundation for a relationship, but you can't like fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? You two, I know twins are, you guys are fucking magnets for each other. You're literally inseparable when it comes to that. I think for a long time though, they used this as an excuse to not want to rebuild and think deeply about the connection because they were like, oh, well, it's just fun, right? One more for this self-love. The inner child healing. Oh, it doesn't get any better. Oh my fucking God. I am obsessed with this. I am obsessed with this. I've made and used excuses in order to control or sabotage our connection, but now I realize the only way to heal is to mend, acknowledge, and forgive my past. Jesus Christ. Very beautiful. I love that. I don't want to jinx it, but I just want one more. Just one more. So this is either a memory or a time period that's significant for you guys, but it's specifically for this inner child healing. And I think I think this healing has really been, clearly they've been doing it for a long time, but I think they've been in like overdrive mode of like deep self-reflection and that fragmentation of the soul since the summer. So this is this is June until September. June until August 5th. August 6th, December 21st, but just the whole months too. Like it doesn't have to be exactly in those dates, but the summertime. So something would have happened over the summer because usually the only way that they get catapulted into this sort of self-reflection is when you guys tell them to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? Like closing the door, reaming them out. I think this collective, you probably did that with with who you are. You're a little bit of a firecracker still, but um, I think you, I think you gave him a wake up call. And it probably was a point in your guys' connection where you really just let it fly, but like not in an angry way. I think you delivered one of those really cold, detached, sort of hard truth moments, right? It feels important. That feels important. So just don't, I mean, don't make anything fit. Like, don't try, anyways, whatever. Since the summer. So again, it's been a while. This sort of thing takes years and it takes months for them to even settle down from a trigger in order to start healing. 6 months ago, but they're still watching, they're still going through that fragmentation of the soul, but they want to be fulfilled with you. And they remember feeling this way with you. When I'm with you, I feel complete. I feel as if I've won the best prize of all. You're exactly what I need and what I want in my life. And you know what I genuinely love? I just realized this. You haven't gotten any, like in that black deck, and they haven't gotten in this deck any of the divine cards, but in the universe's perspective of your connection, there was that card. So I think again, you both have let go of the label, and look what happens. Once you let go of the frequency, that's when things actually start to come in because you're not holding on to it anymore. Oh, I love it. Oh, 1 sec. Okay, let's get I just want to very quickly get what they want to say to you with a couple message cards, like just for fun. And then we'll get what's coming next. I was going to get what moon cycle they're in. Yeah, let's do that real quick. Oh, what was that? Looking at the bigger picture. Yeah, they genuinely are. All right, so what moon cycle is this collective and their person in? Don't let your past hold you back. So that's what the lesson is going to be. It's going to, when they come in, it's going to be so igniting and it's going to be so triggering that parts of your shadow that you've been working so hard to heal, and they've been so hard to heal, are going to flare up. And they always will until you guys build that trust, which takes time. But looking at the bigger picture, not letting your past hold you back, I see it. The end of the tough cycle can approach if you can do that. The end of this tough cycle of the silence. And like, again, your guys' emotions were great. Like, you're not in long suffering and pain and anguish. Like, there's deep reflection. There's some uncomfortable emotions flying around, but it's not like when you guys were first, going at each other's throats, or when you first separated even. Like, it's much more level-headed and in tune with your true emotion. You can end out this last cycle that you're in where you're just nose to the grindstone healing, especially for this collective to be at 8 of coins. I want just one more. Balancing your practicality and spirituality. So you don't have to be cold ice queen, and they're not going to be cold and distant, but also not the overly reliant on the labels and the path and the twin flame dynamic. Like, it's like understanding there's going to be some sort of surrender lesson here, like one of your bigger lessons where if it's truly meant to be, you just let it go. Don't let the past, and what you've thought and gone through hold you back from truly sitting in like Empress, Hierophant, High Priestess, Emperor energy, right? All right, let's just see real quick. I split on your laugh is amazing. And what was I saying? I said that. I think that's true for this collective. All right, what does this person want to say to this collective? Whoop. You are amazing. That's cute. Do you still think about me? I knew it all along, but I can't express myself. So that's where the block is. And we know that because they're watching, right? And you got it in like 3 decks. But they're still, and the universe is who's going to push them forward. They're going to think they make the decision. It's going to be 100% cosmically aligned down to the millisecond. That's what perfect timing is. That's what destiny is. They're going to have one of those moments where they're going to get a lightning bolt through the brain, and then they're going to reach out, right? It's going to feel completely out of nowhere for them, especially since they've been thinking about this for God knows how long. But this, I knew it all along. I think that goes back to the part where I said in the Pop of Love deck, where I said you probably, were like, oh, we're meant to be, and they push back on it. I think that might be something that they confess to, is that deep down they knew and felt that all along. Um, but the do you still think about me? So they have no idea, which means you are presenting in whatever they're seeing as being completely detached and not even a blip, a blip on your radar. Because the veils have also switched, like the longing, desire, nostalgia veil they're wearing. You're wearing the detached, working on yourself, focused on inner healing veil. So lines up again. What's this? I knew it all along. Woo. What's that? Is there a second chance? I can't come to you right now. Again, the waiting, the hesitation, the fear. One more for the I can't express myself. I see you when I close my eyes. What do you see in me? So they'd have no idea how you feel, but that's what's driving them crazy. And the dreaming. I just remembered, like I heard myself saying it. They're dreaming about you right now. And that's coming from the cosmos too. Do you still think about me? Because they're probably thinking, it's been so much time since you guys have actually interacted. And all of a sudden, this hits them out of nowhere like 6 months ago. That's probably when your veils actually switched. And it's just been slowly magnifying since then. But I think for a long time, like because of the time, they're like, do they even still think about me? Because you're all that's on, like they're so focused on that and their inner healing that they're like, wait, it's been so long and I'm just thinking about this now. Could they even be still thinking about me? Like I think they're trying to place the thoughts and the imagery, like they didn't get the awakened card in the Pop of Love deck. I do believe that this person is awakened, but I don't think they're quite at that point where they're seeing everything as being divinely protected and aligned. And they typically don't. That's kind of something that you guys teach each other in a weird way. And then underneath that it says, what is the truth? It just aligns with what I was saying. One more for that. I want to be different. That is what's been driving them forward. And we saw it all over every single deck I got for them. These feelings are eating them alive. I believe that. What's this? You are amazing. Whoa. Is there a second chance? Didn't I just... Hold on. I could have swore that card was already out on the table sign. So that means I was just already seeing it. But is there a second chance? They're dying. They're dying to know, right? Again, universe will push them forward to ask. Probably not that long from now. Will I ever see? Look at their brain. Oh, this person is like genuine. I think they're genuinely freaking out a little bit. But they need to go through what you guys go through. They need to understand what it feels like to genuinely not know and be confused. Remember I said it in their emotion. I was like, that confuses you is how they're feeling about you. They have no idea. They have to, because you guys go through it too, where you think you're crazy and you have no idea how they feel about you, and they keep coming in and leaving just as fast, and they're like impulsive and irrational, and they say that you're the love of their life one minute and they don't know who you are the next. Like, they have to know what that feels like. Otherwise, how can they have empathy towards your situation? And I say this literally all the time. Outside of tarot, I learned this lesson like so long ago, and ever since then it has radically changed the way I like see other human beings. People do not change their perspective until they have intimate familiarity with the situation they have an opinion on. It's very rare for someone to change their opinion and have a more empathetic, understanding, compassionate point of view towards a situation that they'll never experience in their life, right? That to me is a sign of true intelligence. But let's be real, a lot of people are very self-unaware. And so until they, lose their house, they don't give a shit about homeless people. Until they can't buy groceries, they don't care about poor people. Like until they're, their home is destroyed by, global warming, they don't give a fuck about, all the carbon emissions from the billionaires. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, that's a part of the dynamic for the divine masculines. They have to know what it feels like to be on the other end of some of their behavior, right? That is what the veils switching means. That's why this lesson is so important. It goes all the way back to what I was saying, which I know a lot of other spiritualists agree with some version of this. Like, this is why the growth is needed, because how are you going to change the world until you learn true empathy? It's a muscle that you build, right? Now that you and this person have been able to understand all the different facets of this dynamic and how you feel in your healing, you can apply that elsewhere. You can care about people you don't know. Situation, you get what I'm saying? It's important. I wish more people would do like all the research on things and like really sit with themselves when they think about these types of dynamics, because it's a huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. Anyways, I could go on and on about it. All right, let's see. What comes next for you and this connection? 8 of coins again. Stop. What is coming next for this collective and the person that they're connected to? We'll see if timing cards come out. Although it doesn't matter. Like, it's on your timeline. 9 of coins. Oh, you got 8 of coins, 10 of cups, but Knight of Wands in reverse. That's your test. That's their mask. That's how they're going to come in. But 9 of coins. And that's going to be your advice. I can already tell. We'll break it all the way down. But so you're, working, puttering along, nose to the grindstone. You're doing all your, sticking to it. Yes, you could even be self-employed, but your achievement, your mastery, your commitment. You're just going to be on this path, still doing that, which is great. What you're working towards, and I think you know this, is it's some sort of 10 of Cups life. This harmony, blissful relationship, but feeling emotionally fulfilled. This card literally says divine love on it. But then we've got Knight of Wands, Mr. Charismatic Casanova, and boy, is he a reckless show off when he is in reverse. He is very arrogant and he is unpredictable. He is jealous. And then you've got 9 of coins on the other side. That's a card of independence. That's a card of singlehood and self-abundance, sophistication, being on your own, taking it easy, fulfillment and freedom. This 8 of coins, this 9 of coins, that's clearly like where your energy's at right now and what you're working towards. This 10 of cups and this 9 of wands. I don't know about this. What's this 10 of cups? That's a storybook ending, which you will get. Oh, I don't like that. One more. Oh. So you got King of Swords in reverse. He's my least favorite fucking king when he's in reverse. Because he is so cold and so calculating. And he is nasty. He is nasty and mean. He is unbending and he is controlling. He's sarcastic and passive aggressive. He's just ruthless. And not, he's great when it comes to path when he's upright, but again, in reverse, he's an authoritarian. You've got 10 of cups, him, and then 3 of wands, and it kind of came out both ways. I'm reading it as upright, but this 3 of wands is a manifesting of your destiny in big developments. Oh, I don't like that. Hold on, let's see what Mr. Smooth Criminal is doing over here. Whoa, get back over here. Temperance. So I knew it was them right away, right? That's the balance that's taking place. The hyperactivity, the impulsiveness. They're literally like holding him back. I was actually seeing those gates, and I don't agree with horse racing, but I was seeing those gates in front of the horses before they take off. Like that's the image I was seeing in my mind of the temperance, like trying to hold this person back. They're trying to really settle out the last bits of impulsiveness in the soul. So when this person comes towards you, it doesn't feel like the past. Because again, it's going to be incredibly triggering either way. I want one more for this King of Swords. I don't like him being here. And I can't tell who it's coming from. Someone returning from the past. So this is their mask. 6 of Cups in reverse. But this is also you remembering the past. So I'm hearing a few things with this. One, you're in such a place of self-sufficiency and abundance that I think whenever this comes back into your energy, you're going to be a little bit cold about it. I don't think you're totally all those things I was saying about King of Swords, but you're going to be remembering the past in that moment. And again, you got in that moon cycle, don't let your past hold you back. It's going to trigger everything from the past that you think you've healed, that there's still remnants of. And there's a reason why I went into that bit about how nobody talks about when divines come back in for their like final reunion sort of energy. A lot of you guys just say, fuck it, I don't want to do this. Because there's just a part of your soul that will always be broken about it. And the healing takes place after you trust that they won't do it again. But that is such a hard trust fall, right? It actually, that's why it makes it so rare. Like, it's really hard to put your heart back in the hands of someone who just absolutely crushed it, right? And you crushed theirs too, but it's just different. In this collective, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, 10 of Cups, 3 of Wands, King of Swords in reverse. To be pessimistic over that kind of life, that's your block. And you do what you want. I'm just here to relay the message. But there's so much beautiful energy around you. You know what? I'm asking what's coming next, but I want to actually ask way more detailed what their approach is going to look like. What's the approach going to look like towards this collective? So that's not bad. They're going to want to collaborate. 3 of Cups upright. They're going to want harmony. They're going to want, like, I see this as a card of celebration, and it can be friendship, but more just coming from a place that's very lighthearted and celebratory and communal and communication. With Knight of Cups, that's not the best approach, but it is a love offer. The reason why I'm saying it's not the best approach is because the universe is seeing them as a King of Cups. So their energy is already in a place of divine masculine energy, but their approach, because they're nervous, I think it's going to come off very flirtatious and romantic. That's why I think Temperance is over this Knight of Wands in reverse, because they're trying to balance that energy in them where it's like the old patterns from the past. So while you're going to have a test of not being, if you want not being cold and bitter and controlling over the outcome, they're going to have a test on their impulse and their bullshit behavior. You know what I mean? I want one more. And then 4 of Cups, or 4 of Coins in reverse. And that is about, I'm sorry, that's 4 of Cups in reverse. That's about self-awareness. That's about literally understanding your patterns of behavior and being proactive. So they know it's going to take time, effort, and energy. But I think more than anything, they're going to try, because like, you saw their message cards, like, is there a second chance? Do you even think about me? I think they're going to come in more lighthearted. I think they're going to just, just dip their toe and be like, hi, I've been thinking about you. But like deep down, you see all the fucking emotion that's bubbling and all the, intention that's bubbling. I just don't think they want to scare you off. And I also think that they want to do anything but seem nonchalant, which it's good. The way it comes out, it's messy. It's not perfect. And that's okay. What's Knight of Cups upright? What was that? Page of Wands. It's like it's like downgrading. it's again, it's not the best, but it's very playful and it's very adventurous, and he's so energetic. He's so fresh in the mind. I always say he's the little adventurer and the traveler. Like, he loves to be a spontaneous. So that's the seeds in their soul that will still remain with them, which is good. It's a beautiful quality to have, to be curious about the world and really love adventure and culture and experience. I think they're trying to channel it correctly. Again, they came out as the King of Cups, universe's perspective. That's great. But again, the way they approach you, very lighthearted. Very lighthearted. You have not had answers. There's a third party interference and they abandoned you and your feelings and your emotions. You guys probably got in trouble. I think you both got arrested together. Like, you want that deep conversation. I think it's going to trigger you and make you feel like this guy's just coming in for some fun. What the fuck does that even mean? It's going to trigger the shit out. Do you get what I'm saying? Just keep that in mind. Their intention is nice. You decide what you want to do. Well, let's ask Source what your advice should be. Advice for this collective. Oh, one more. Advice. Close, let go of the past. Let go of the past. You can have a complete renewal here. You got Death upright, but 3 of Swords and Page of Swords in reverse. This is the past that can hold you back. The grief and the disillusionment and the depression and the heartbreak, the sorrows, the misunderstanding, the tears and the loss with the revoked offers and the manipulation, the obsessiveness and the inner child wounds. You guys are going to have to work through this, but the approach in it of itself cannot have all of the elements of fixer-upper in it baked in. Like, that would be insane for someone to come in. They'd have like, I'm seeing, have you ever seen like something like some sort of piece of media where like the squire walks up to the king and then like has the scroll and the scroll falls out and it's just like 5 miles long with all the things he's going to tell the king on it? Like, I think that's what your energy, maybe right now you're like, no, I don't need that. But when you're triggered, I think your triggered self is going to want all of the X, Y, and Z. Why did this happen? That is not divine feminine energy. That is not union reconciliation energy. This might just be the last sort. We'll just see what the outcome is going to be. But they're saying all of the daggers, like, you guys will talk about it. If they're really a King of Cups, you'll know right away. You'll know right away. And if they're not, you can walk away and be fine. Trust in yourself that you can handle this without it causing such a detriment in your soul. That is High Priestess. That is Empress energy. This is going to be a really important test. I don't think that this is the union time yet. I think this is like one of your last cycle completions. Because again, a total overhaul, death renewal, an abrupt change, a new start, letting go of the old to bring in the new beginnings. All right, let's see the outcome. Judgment. And 10 of Coins, 10, 10. New spiritual story, heeding the call, trust. If something comes to your table, you don't have to be mean, you don't have to be cold, you're going to be triggered, you don't even need to say anything. Maybe wait a couple days. Because you got 5 of Cups, that's a grief, sadness, emotional baggage, and resisting change. Resisting surrender is what I just heard. You could have an Ace of Wands if you let go of the emotional baggage here. You guys will talk about it. Don't try to rush anything. Have a balance between practicality and spirituality. Believe in your love story, but also be practical. Like, understand that these things are going to have to come to light. And they might even say something like that. See where it goes. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Do you get what I'm saying? New spiritual story, forgiveness, but an awakening the right way. Connecting back to your mission work, a rebirth, action, decision, but renewal of the soul for both of you. Ace of Wands, a passionate new start with 10 of Coins. Stop. That's a family legacy. That's privilege and buying a house and lineage. I see that like 10 and 10 storybook ending with a family legacy. Set up for life with that. One last one for the outcome. 6 of Coins, but in reverse. That's gonna, again, it's gonna be the thing that chaps your ass, and it's gonna be that for them too. You're not the only one who was hurt. That's what I just heard. So just keep that in mind. But it's the one-sided, the conditional giving. They're trying to give you a judgment period over this whole thing to just get it out of there. You'll just have to see. This is going to be a hard one. It's a test of faith. 9 of Wands. You're going to have your boundaries. You have to have them, but don't be cold and controlling and mean and sarcastic about it. Just have your faith. Hold the line when it comes to that. Because even if let's just worst case scenario, which I'm not saying this is real, but even if it wasn't this person, look at all you've achieved. Like, this person coming in and being your person doesn't make your spiritual awakening and your success and the person that you are any less real. You'll always have that. That's the divine journey. Understanding that you have self-fulfillment and self-prophecy and self-determination, and you are autonomous in yourself. You are a divine autonomous being. You will always have that. It doesn't matter what happens here. You will always have that. Don't forget it. They're not coming in and ruffling your feathers and taking anything away from you. They never could. They never could. The unpaid debts. There is no debt. Wipe it clean. The forgiveness. I just want one more. I don't want to end on 6 of Coins in reverse. This is going to be hard. And it always is. But 7 of Wands in reverse. Make amends. Live to fight another day. Find a compromise. Don't be totally in conflict avoidance. Don't totally feel like this is a lost cause. But just find balance. King of Wands. Natural born leader at the bottom. It's going to be a hard one. You decide what you want to do. Whatever is meant for you won't pass you by. And you know that. But you could create another emotional cycle here. Or you guys could start to heal. It's up to you. Let's see what angel is watching over this collective. Like, it could take months for you guys to actually get on the same page where some of these larger truths are going to come out. Just remember that. So the beauty of God is the angel watching over you. Appreciate beauty, follow your bliss, joyful fulfillment, live authentically, patron of artists. So expand your consciousness by taking time to appreciate beauty and revel in the lusciousness of all creation. Calcite, 4 to 6 months, very likely. It could take 4 to 6 months. You've been doing this for years. That's nothing. That's going to go by in the blip of a minute. Blink of an eye. One more. That's the one I was seeing. Not yet, though. Star of love and beauty, serenity, reassuring, there's something here about creativity, but love, sensuality, reflection, psychic ability. I help raise your vibration to a higher frequency of joy and love to experience more passion in life. Moonstone, Friday, it's a developing romance. Maybe get yourself some moonstone. I love moonstone. I wear it all the time, but Fridays might be important, and Fridays are ruled by Venus. And she is all about that love, baby. She's also all about money. Abundance, right? She's also about keys, and she's incredible. She's an incredible figure. Let's see. Relationships, bring forth new love. Your angels are asking you to unblock your energy now. If you are in a romantic relationship, do something to reinforce that bond. If you're single, this is a prime time to bring forth new love, but new love, new, not old, not who. If you are not the same person, and this person is not presenting as the exact same person, you're just getting triggered by just watch the whole thing. I don't want to repeat myself, but visualize divine white light on your heart chakra, clearing any debris and block loving energies from coming to you. And new connection. There's 2 here about new. See each other as new. People are showing up in your life. Meet them and open yourself up to what they have to teach you about yourself. Demonstrate that your heart and mind are open to a new connection by following up with a new friend at some point today. And again, what we project out is what we call in. You're getting this example in all areas. Maybe you've been closing yourself off to all new experiences. Don't do that right now. Look how it's affecting your heart space. Revive. It's time to shine. 401. Your angels need you to know that the light is shining on you now. It's time to take a chance. Speak up for yourself and go for that thing you've been wanting to do but haven't. What was I just saying? Oh, that was beautiful. Good luck.